Welcome back to Field Trip Nation. Today we're at Minnehaha Falls in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we're going to explore how the falls first formed and its history since then. Minnehaha Falls first formed in St. Paul at the base of Mounds Park near what is called Pig's Eye Lake about 13,000 years ago when an ancient glacial lake's ice dam burst and emptied, creating the Red, Minnesota, and Mississippi rivers, along with other river systems. The falls started because of climate change, specifically ice formation due to ice nucleation, and a small piece of ice can eventually become a glacier. As temps started to lower about 2.6 million years ago, glaciers started to build up. They extended across most or all of Canada, the northern part of the United States, and this was the start of the Pliocene epoch, which began to end about 13,000 years ago. At that time, the Laurentide ice sheet extended over the northern part of North America, extending into the northern U.S., covering North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and down into New York and Pennsylvania and Connecticut. As temps began to warm, the glaciers began to melt and recede. The meltwaters were blocked by ice at the Rockies, and the waters pooled, forming a giant freshwater lake extending from Saskatchewan to Ontario and Michigan. It stretched almost to the top of the Hudson Bay and to the middle of Minnesota and the top of South Dakota. It was named Glacial Lake Agassiz after Louis Agassiz, a Swedish geologist who first proposed the idea of partial global glaciation in the 1800s. Between 13 and 11,000 years ago, an ice dam at the bottom in what is now the Red River Valley burst, and all that water that collected, more water than is in all of the Great Lakes combined, was released at once. It carved a river channel up to 8 kilometers wide and 70 meters deep. Historical geologists call this ancient river Glacial River Warren. The riverbed of Glacial River Warren includes the Red River and Minnesota rivers. It was so large, the Mississippi was merely a tributary of Glacial River Warren. The vast amount of water coming out of Lake Agassiz created the original falls 13,000 years ago. That original falls in St. Paul would have been wider than Niagara Falls at more than 3 kilometers wide. Due to the underlying geology, the falls slowly wore away and moved upriver. It moved because the St. Peter sandstone at the bottom, which was formed during the Devonian period, easily wore away. This sandstone was so pure that Henry Ford placed one of his factories in St. Paul because of that easily sorted and rounded, almost pure silica or sand, which could be used to make low-cost windshields. As the sandstone wore away, it eroded underneath the heavier Decorah shale and Platteville limestone, which collapsed due to its weight, and this allowed the falls to move 26 kilometers in just 13,000 years. The ancient falls ultimately split off into several separate falls due to an island similar to this one in the middle of the river. The first to split off was Hidden Falls near the Ford plant. Minnehaha Falls was next, along with Deer Pen Falls, and the remaining falls continued the 10-kilometer journey to where St. Anthony Falls presently sits. Let's return back to Minnehaha Falls. Hidden off of 46th Street and 46th Avenue is the remnants of an ancient falls that was blocked off to allow for a small petting zoo called Deer Pen. This has been long closed, but you can see the old falls bricked up, but water still seeps out with spring and meltwater. This ancient falls was the original outlet, but it changed, probably due to a river meander, which is a change in the river's course, usually due to a flood. If you look to the banks of this ancient falls, you can see the Platteville limestone and the Decorah shale, but the St. Peter sandstone is buried underneath all of the fill. Minnehaha Creek continues to flow after 13,000 years. The erosion continues to move it westwards, though slowly by human standards, partly due to much less water flowing through its riverbed. It has sang to more than 4.6 million sunrises in its life. The falls has split off from its older siblings. The Dakota, Lakota, and Anishinaabe peoples have honored it for more than 13 millennia. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow venerated a song of Hiawatha to it, and millions have stood at its base in awe at its gloriously simplistic beauty. Like the sun rising, it will continue, and hopefully we humans will continue to act as stewards for Minnehaha and the rivers that feed and nurture our lives. Thank you so much for joining me today as we explored Minnehaha Falls. If you'd like more information about Minnehaha Falls or where you can acquire lesson plans, please check the links below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much and create a great day.